Okay, the second reading is a reading 2 Timothy 4. Okay, perfect, Dan.
Second reading, 2 Timothy. I, Paul, am already being poured out like a libation, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have competed well, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. From now on, the crown of righteousness awaits me, which the Lord, the just judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but to all who have longed for his appearance. The Lord stood by me and gave me strength, so that through me the proclamation might be completed, and all the Gentiles might hear it. And I was rescued from the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil threat, and will bring me safe to his heavenly kingdom. To him be glory forever and ever.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, so this is Paul, probably around 67 AD. This was written in prison in Rome, and it's right before his execution. And so he was writing to his beloved disciple, the bishop Timothy, right? Timothy was a bishop at that point. And tradition says that he was beheaded because remember, Paul said, I'm a Roman citizen. And so a Roman citizen you could not crucify. They would get an honorable death, which was beheading at that point. So, I mean, death is death, but you suffer a lot when you're crucified. And so as a Roman citizen, he had to go to trial, and he demanded trial in Rome. And so, that basically was added on years. I mean, you couldn't just jump on a plane and go to Rome. I mean, even the travel itself took a lot of time. And actually, the one time that they went, he was shipwrecked. Remember, he was shipwrecked, and they thought he was a god. He said they thought everybody's going to die, and he said, no, you have to throw everything off, and no one's going to die. Go ahead, Dan.
It's interesting that you said that the beheadings were considered to be an honorable death. When you think about a lot of the lives of the saints that were martyred, they were actually gone through a bunch of other tortures that they were being healed from, and that they didn't do the job of killing them.
Burning and arrows.
So finally, the only way that they could end that person's life was to behead him. So they then ultimately got an honorable death.
Right.
Even though they suffered it.
No, that's a good point. And that also shows that God's in control, right? And I think that's important. So Paul said, I am already being poured out like a libation. And that's kind of interesting use of this term, because that's a special sacrificial drink. So just even the terminology that he's using, he's being poured as a sacrificial drink at the time of and the time of my departure is at hand. So we know that, he knows that he's going to go. But this is also more like a journey home, right? This is his departure. I have competed well. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. So he competed. Remember, and throughout his, he has this Olympic. I mean, they had the Olympics at that point, and he mentioned it in different in different writings that he had throughout the New Testament. He had several saying, I punished my body, but I'm going for not an imperishable crown like this little wreath that you get if you win. So they would get a wreath of flowers if they won a competition at that point. And again, he's saying, I have competed well, and I have finished the race. And that's important. We need to finish the race. We're all racing along here. I mean, we're all seeking God. We're all spending time on a Wednesday when we could be doing other things, right? Because we obviously want to seek God. I mean, that's what's important. So we want to finish this race, though. We don't want to give up, a mile before the end, or we want to go right to the end. We want to, finish strong, because ultimately this life is passing away, and maybe 100 years for some, maybe less for others of us is all we got left. And so we got to kind of think that in mind. A lot of us might have, more years behind us than in front of us. We just don't know. I mean, none of us know the date or the time when we're going to go, but we want to finish strong. And the fact that you're seeking God here, seeking God, and have good habits. I want to, start your day off in prayer, have good habits, just start doing something every day, start doing the Angelus at 6, 12, and 6. That's a good way to start. Father Rippinger said, people that have demonic oppression, he said that takes care of 85% of it, just by that, because Satan hates order also. And so you want that habitual order, that, prayer, do your Angelus, do your rosary, pray your chaplet. Because what I found in my life, if I'm praying, I'm not sinning. So we better be praying always, right? And it's sometimes the other way around. Maybe if I'm not praying, there's more apt to be sinning. And so I think that's important why, Jesus said, pray always. From now on, the crown of righteousness awaits me, which the Lord, the just judge, will award me on that day. And not only to me, but to all that have longed for his appearance. So it's not just Paul he's saying that's going to get to heaven, but all those that are pursuing righteousness and are in the state of grace, right? When you die and you finish strong in the state of grace, that's what we have to look forward to. I mean, if we're not perfect, then there's purgatory, there's a cleansing that happens, but you're ultimately on the road to heaven. There's only heaven and hell. I mean, that's the two ultimate destinations for everybody. And, the theologians and saints have said that hell is actually a mercy, because it would be more painful for somebody that did not choose God to be in heaven than in hell. And so I don't quite get all the theology of it, but I kind of believe it. When you think about it, is, God created that. It's actually a mercy. The Lord stood by me and gave me strength, right? So everybody else deserted him. He says that in his letter. But Jesus said what? I will not abandon you. I will be with you till the end of time. And so know that. That's, you may be alone. You may not have a lot of people around you, but Jesus is with you at all times. And that's important. Never forget that. When you think you're alone, you're not truly alone. God's right there. Jesus is with you and gave me strength. And so that through me the proclamation may be completed and all the Gentiles might hear it. And I was rescued from the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil threat and will bring me safe to his heavenly kingdom. So death is not defeat, but rather it's victory. I mean, do you guys understand that? I mean, death is not defeat, it's victory. And when we have that in mind, it's a whole different way of living. So we're getting a year older. That's great. I mean, I look at it as it's one more year closer to God. I mean, that's the way we should be viewing it. I think we get it all backwards. Our whole culture is saying, oh, you got to do everything you can to prolong your life for as long as possible and have no pains, no sufferings. And actually a lot of even other Christian denominations, they see no point of suffering. Suffering has no meaning. And so we don't want to fall into, what Jesus said when the tower fell on those people. They didn't do anything wrong or evil. The tower just fell on those people in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hopefully they're in the state of grace, because then they're in heaven, right? I mean, it's pretty simple when, just stay in the state of grace. As long as you stay in the state of grace and have hope of heaven, and what are we called to do? Pray, hope, and don't worry in a lot of ways, because, we're not going to be living forever.
Nagasaki had the Christian population. Makes you wonder why that was chosen.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I know as Maximilian Kolbe, his community was spared. They were all praying the rosary, and everything else was completely demolished and wiped out. And that one little place that they were all praying the rosary, they were spared of the bomb when it fell. So that's kind of amazing. There was miracles that happen like that, and it's not for no reason.